Joining me now, California Senator Alex Padilla, who helped introduce the bill this week, along with Senator Bob Menendez. Full disclosure, Bob Menendez is my father. Also of note, Senator Padilla is the first Latino to ever chair the Senate's Immigration Subcommittee. Senator, thanks for being here. First, how do you see this plan squaring with what the president has promised and what is truly necessary to fix America's broken immigration system?
Well, good to see you again, Alicia. And look, appreciate the question. It's timely. We've taken officially step one in advancing immigration reform through this session of Congress. Historically, immigration reform has been a bipartisan issue, right? The last significant one has been far too long. 1986 was done bipartisan. The last time a comprehensive measure was approved by the United States Senate was in 2013. Seems like decades ago, but only a few years ago, also on a bipartisan basis. And clearly we're hoping for the same. I'm heartened that the first step is indeed a comprehensive measure, not a piecemeal measure. And now it's time for those discussions and negotiations to begin.
Well, when you talk about bipartisanship, where do you see an opportunity to bring Republicans on board?
Look, I think all of the above. We've introduced the bill, and now it's time for them to respond. What is it that they like? If there's anything that they don't like or they think is missing, now's the time for those conversations to happen. But I can tell you, I am optimistic because the stars seem to be aligned. As you mentioned, we have a Democratic majority, not just in the House, but the United States Senate. The commitment of President Biden to sign the bill, should we get it to his desk. And I'm hopeful not just that those stars are aligned, but the American people are certainly in favor of this. They know that not just comprehensive reform is long overdue. We need to repair the cruelty of the situation at the border that we've witnessed these last 4 years. Bring justice, not just to dreamers, but for TPS holders and so many others. And my God, if this last year has not demonstrated how much our country relies on, and I think respects the contributions of immigrants, both documented and undocumented. Just look at the essential workers sector. Undocumented individuals working in healthcare, working as farm workers, working in food delivery and other important sectors during this pandemic. They've earned not just protections in the workplace, but I believe security and a path to citizenship.
President Biden at a CNN town hall this week said he would also be open to a piecemeal approach on immigration. Let's take a listen.
I would, if you had a refugee bill by itself, I'm not suggesting that, but there's things that I would deal by itself, but not at the expense of saying I'm never going to do the other. There is a reasonable path to citizenship.
Senator, as I understand it, the argument for pushing this through in pieces is based on pragmatism and on an urgency around getting some things done. And then on the flip, the argument for doing this wholesale is that once you start breaking it up into pieces and passing the most politically viable elements, you then lose momentum for the parts that are more challenging. Does acknowledging a willingness to do this piece by piece undermine the effort then to do it wholesale?
Look, again, I think let's remind ourselves where we are in the process. We've taken step one in introducing the bill, and it is indeed a comprehensive bill. And I think even President Biden, in saying he'd sign a standalone measure, that's not what he is suggesting. So I think the driving philosophy here is let's get as much done as quickly as possible. And while we're working in good faith to make this a bipartisan effort, let's also not be kidding ourselves. Republicans have been notorious over recent years work with us, let's take time, we want to work with you, and the closer you get to the next election cycle, all of a sudden it becomes too late and they want to hear from the voters. So let's not fall for it again. Let's get as much done as quickly as we can.
So putting aside Republicans for a moment, do you have the support necessary among the Democratic caucus to get those pieces done?
Well, I haven't heard the Democrats say no yet, but now has begun that process, as you mentioned. It was Senator Menendez as the lead author, several House members on the House version, proud to be a co-sponsor on the Senate side, along with Senator Ben Ray Lujan, Senator Klobuchar, and many others. And so now we start to whip. Let's fine-tune the language. Let's whip the votes, and let's get this done as quickly as we can.
You know, it strikes me that you had President Biden, putting in place a 100-day moratorium on deportations. And part of what we have watched is ICE continue to deport immigrants in this country. Do you think there is enough in here reckoning with ICE as a rogue institution?
Look, I think the bill is simply one tool. As you mentioned in the introduction, I am the new chair of the Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, Citizenship, and Border Safety. So while we're advancing policy, we will take full opportunity to exercise our oversight responsibility through the committee. To ask the questions of ICE and other agencies, restore fairness, the rule of law, and dignity and respect to our immigration system while we advance the fixes that we know that are long overdue.
All right, Senator Padilla, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you, Alicia. Be back soon.